For us, it took us about 3 months to really get a substantial five-figure, number where we were doing about 50K in August. So June, July, August, and we got to 50K. And then once we hit November, we had our first, 100K month because of Black Friday and the holidays in December. And so our first 6 months, we did just under half a million. We were at 480, so we hit that 500,000, shortly after in the new year, and we were able to hit just under 1 million in our first year, really by tapping into the holidays, the peak seasons, and then learning from our first year and then applying those to the first half of 2024.
And how many employees do you have?
I just have one employee. I think the number one thing for me and having success with being so lean was being as involved as I possibly could. I was new to the consumer world and I came from a different background. I wanted to have a more hands-on approach so I could actually learn what was going on and understand what was going on, which was the main reason that I didn't want to go with an agency right off the bat. I had my hypothesis of why people would buy this thing, and we needed to know if that was true and also what were the other things. And if I was in an agency and it was kind of, letting them do it on their own, I wouldn't hear from them, maybe once a week. Like our model early on, I think that's the best way to have success as an early founder because we were able to learn what works for our customer, what do they need. And if you're not involved with that, you're putting all your cards in the person you hired. If it's an agency and you have no say in what they're doing. I've learned in the founder world, it's all about contractors and it's all about who you partner up with.
Yeah, it can be tricky too because like people who don't have as much experience as you may have had or have now, it's hard to know what you don't know yet too. And a lot of people, especially when it comes to sales and marketing or whether it's SEO or PR or paid, everybody is making the same claims. Like they're all promising business growth. And unless you as the founder are able to really understand the data and get to the root cause of any bottlenecks as you're rolling out your, growing your business, it's hard. It can be tricky to know who is doing a good job, not doing a good job, what the actual issue is. For a lot of like early founders, it definitely seems to be like they can't quite see some of the things that come ahead if they don't yet have that foundational experience or understanding of how to like just understand the data.
I mean, having the pulse of your company is the way to make, to be successful because then you understand exactly what's going to work, what's not going to work, and you want to be as involved as possible. My biggest worry before launching was, is anyone going to buy this product? And that first sale you get from a totally random person is the most exciting thing possible. And then when you get a couple sales from random people, it becomes more and more exciting. And those early days are all about excitement for just a simple single sale. And not losing that excitement, I think, is the key because it keeps you hungry. And so early wins where, you get your first $10,000 month, you get your first $50,000 month, you get your first $100,000 month. And then how do you, when you start getting bigger, how do you scale things back and go, okay, what is still exciting to me? Because it does run its course where one sale you expect to get one sale a day. So how do you still find that same excitement as you get bigger? But those are probably the coolest wins where you never know when you launch, is anyone going to care about this, especially if you invent something brand new. And when
Mm.
you do get a random person with no affiliation to you that buys your product and then leaves a review and goes, hey, this changed my life or this really worked, it's the whole reason to be doing this. And you always have to remember, no matter how big you get or how exhausted you are, always go back to those hero customers that really find value in your products. And that's the reason you do it. And, that's something that I've always looked back on because even now, when we're doing, a couple $1,000 days, we still have those customers who write and say, hey, this changed my life. Thank you. And you got to remember, it's one person at a time without thinking too big.
Give us a quick run through of like what we actually did there.
Our initial strategy was we used a hypothesis, but then we looked at our competitors and how they were marketing. So if our hypothesis was weighted blankets are bad, we need a weighted pillow. That's going to be one of our tactics. But then what our competitors were doing, they were targeting insomnia, they were targeting anxiety. So that felt like a very natural thing for us also to target. So now we have weighted blanket problems, we have anxiety problems, we have insomnia problems. And then my personal story with ADHD, we have ADHD problems. So what we were able to do is we can create a quick video for each of those problems. then we can test those videos and then we can see, okay, what does the audience like out of our entire sort of scope of work, and then narrow it down from there. If UGC is the number one marketing tool that people are using, and it means user generated content, then it makes sense that founder content would be just as powerful versus tapping into the high production stuff, because people want the authenticity. And so you're your best asset. You're the reason you created the company. So you should be speaking to the people and, learning what your audience wants. And then when we're reaching out to UGC people, we're also telling them the same thing. Hey, out of these 4 things, give us one of them that resonates with you. And then as we build up more and more UGC, we're also building up those 4 different categories, and then testing those categories not only with the founder, but then testing those categories with UGC to see what resonates with the audience. And so early on, it was founder hooks, founder problems, as well as UGC hooks and UGC stories to see what actually did resonate with our audience and what was that marketing kind of lever we could lean on.
Yeah, that's definitely one of the cool things about doing anything online in today's world. Like, you can use your iPhone, you can have an idea for an angle, you can shoot a piece of content, you can activate creators or partners even to shoot content pieces, and you can get those ideas tested all within a matter of a few days. Like, you don't have to, again, do a huge production, schedule things out months in advance. Like, it can all happen. You can get feedback and data really quickly with iPhone content and with a paid channel. And I do think that that's something that you've caught on to very well, even over the months, like just understanding how to use that feedback loop and how to read the data. What's next? Like, what's the goal for where you want to take the business in the next couple of years?
The challenge with any brand is your product roadmap, and how do you introduce new products at the right time. For us, it's continuing to innovate, continuing to build meaningful products that don't tarnish or devalue our brand, and then set us up in a position to eventually sell because they want to buy the brand, not because they want to buy the product. Because anyone can create your product, but they can't create your brand. And so that's our main focus going forward. Do a lot of price testing. Price testing is your number one marketing tactic. When you have a good price, you will know you have a good price. Where we came out, we have a couple products. One of them I think was priced incorrectly, and one of them was priced perfectly. And one of them needed more marketing dollars to sell, where the one that was priced perfectly sold without any marketing dollars. So if you nail pricing, that is literally the secret weapon.